That should be a fun one. Washington State, another ranked opponent that we're coming up against. They do an unbelievable job of finishing games. You see a couple times they're down by a couple scores in the fourth quarter, and they are very mentally tough, and you just can't put them away. So it's a game that we're going to have to come out swinging. We're going to have to stay on top of it because they're with that quarterback that they have and their offense, they're never out of the fight. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere, ranked match in a night game. So it's going to be hard to beat. Let's go with some questions.
Coach, this is Jason Walker with Cash Valley Daily. Just wanted to ask about coming out of the bye week. Obviously, there's a lot of injury concerns. Is there anyone you're expecting to be able to come back after the bye week?
Nah, not really. We're one of the few teams that if you get injured, you are out for the year here. We're only severe injuries. So we have no one really on the brink of coming back. So it's just keep everyone that we do have healthy and make sure the next guy's up is ready to roll.
Kind of want to ask a bit of a follow up to that. With a lot of the guys who've had to step up, how valuable was that bye week to help them maybe get up a little bit more to speed in their new role?
Yeah, no doubt. It's getting them comfortable, right? We practiced 3 days during the bye week, gave them the rest of the time off. We're just so limited at a lot of spots. It's hard to go out and practice every day. But that being said, we just try to simplify some things to make sure our younger players that go in that they're not overwhelmed by the scheme, and it's just coming down to them doing fundamentals of technique, which they've practiced 9 million times. So making sure it's about us during the bye week was the ultimate goal, and hopefully it'll pay off.
Nate Trentwood with the Deseret News. I'm curious if momentum is real, and if you saw it in the bye week, just the energy and excitement around the team. If you see any momentum off of that Wyoming win.
Yeah, I don't know, Trent. You know, momentum is real if you are mentally weak, and it rolls over top of you because you can't stand and fight against it. You just kind of crumble, and that's when the snowball effects come, and everything gets worse and worse and worse. And that is true. So hopefully that's not the mindset of the team we have. If you have a mentally tough team, like they might get a couple plays, but that is totally irrelevant on what's about to happen the next snap because I've already reset and I'm back to zero and I'm back to playing my play and playing my game. So we are in great moods, right? Great spirits. But when we were 1-5 or 1-6 or 2-6, it's crazy. You walk into work every day and everyone's smiling. They're working their butts off. They know there's a lot left out there for us this season as long as we keep getting a little bit better.
Dryling, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. With the exception of the UNLV games, you guys really the UNLV game. You really haven't turned the ball over much, and the turnover margin you've done pretty well, or at least even for most of those weeks. So how confident are you that you've kind of gotten that straightened out, and how important will that be this week against the Washington State team that's +8 in turnover margin?
Man, that's +8. That's why they're 7-1. Spencer's done an unbelievable job. I feel like, especially this last couple of weeks of getting the ball where he needs to get it, but even more importantly, on time. Not only is he not really turning the ball over, not really taking a bunch of sacks. So that leaves you with very few negative plays and third and XLs, and we're kind of in that third and medium range, which we need to win. So if we can stay at a third and long, that's when most turnovers come. And if we can keep establishing our run game and make sure Spencer feels comfortable pulling and throwing when it's time to do that, then it's just it's hard to turn the ball over with a smart quarterback. With Wazoo, the guy they got back there at quarterback, John Mateer, he's the real deal. He's hard to get down, hard to sack. He is very fluid, can move, can make every throw in the book. And even more so, he's a smart quarterback. He doesn't put himself in a lot of harm's way with his passes. If a guy's there, he'll hit him. If not, he'll just eat it. So that's why the formula is pretty easy for winning football games. You gotta be able to tackle, block, and win the turnover margin. Washington State's done that unbelievable job so far.
Hey, Coach, Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan. That kind of leads into a question I had for you about Spencer and not having Jalen Royals available. There's no question he was a favorite target for Spencer. Last game against Wyoming, it was who else can step into that void left with him. How do you feel like that's been addressed in the bye week with Spencer and these other wide receivers that improving their connections?
I think that it's always been that kind of next guy up mentality, right? You knew Jalen was going to get 150 yards. You knew Razul was going to run for over 100. And then it was always the next guy was going to have a big game. And now that next guy, right, is, they have to be way more consistent. Not that they weren't, but the ball is going to come to them a lot often, right? Whether that's Otto or Kyrese or Jack. Grant Page, you have all these guys that have unbelievable talent. And each of them have had individual games of over 100 yards, right? So now can we stack that and have a couple of them do it consistently every single week? So it is going to be interesting to see how teams defend us now with Jalen out, whether it's just more man-free and less zone stuff. It was a lot of cover two stuff over top of Royals. So we'll have to make adjustments once they see how they're going to play, and then it's going to come down to our guys winning the one-on-one matchups, which we feel confident in.
Patrick Mayhorn from the Ag Ship. Washington State's running the ball really well this year. The offense has changed a little bit. They've got a running back who's having a lot of success. Mateer's having a lot of success. How have you seen this offense kind of evolve from being pass first to something where they do have pretty much 50-50 balance, but they're running pass share?
Yeah, and they do a good job of creating QB run game as well, kind of what you're alluding to, Patrick. But it's a handful. Not only can they throw the now screens, every single play there's an RPO tag. So if you play too loose in coverage, the ball is always going to get kicked on the edge, and they have a couple really good receivers that can take it 80 yards whenever they want. And at the same time, if you play too loose on the box, they're very comfortable handing that thing off. So I think offensively they're doing a good job of just taking what the defense gives them, and they're not forcing it. And that's why you don't see a lot of turnovers. You don't see a lot of negative plays. They're just very consistent with what they want to do. So our handful that we have to have is being able to try to force some different reads, try to confuse the quarterback, and keep him out of third and short, right? Get us some third and longs and see if we can't heat this guy up a little bit.
Riley and Jason Turner again. Their defense, they've given up a fair amount of yards, but they kind of make you earn your way down the field for the most part. Not a lot of yards per completion, and they have a lot of takeaways. So what do you see from that? What specifically do you see from that defense?
They do a good job of exactly what you're talking about, kind of valuing points over yards. And then when it gets down to the red zone, everything gets tighter and it's harder to score. So they know what they have. They have an offense that can outscore any team in the country, and they have a defense that's going to force turnovers and going to make you drive it 20 plus plays to try to get points. That's kind of the formula that you want for success, right? So we have to be able to not only create explosives, but when they are taking that away, we have to be able to grind out the ball, being able to run it, get 4 to 5 yards of carry, throw the ball on time, stay out of our third and long so we can stay kind of in rhythm and ahead of the sticks. If we can do that, right, we feel confident that we can move the ball against anybody. I think Washington State just does a good job of eliminating big plays and forcing your hand a little bit to throw some throws you don't want to make.
Coach, Jason Walker again. Against Wyoming, that was the second time you've held a team under 30 points this season. First time against an FBS opponent. What was the thing that kind of changed in that game where you guys saw more success on defense? And what do you got to do to try and make sure that happens against a really tough opponent, Washington State?
No. The big thing is we opened up conference play with the top 3 offenses in the Mountain West, all scoring, I think, 45 a game. We played really good offenses and really good quarterbacks. But we spent a lot of time on that Wyoming week of really simplifying it for our players, making sure that it was easy keys, and allowing them to play fast. We know we're not playing with the guys we started with the year. We got, 8 or 9 guys out for the season on defense. So what can we do on defense as far as schematically where they feel comfortable, where they can go play fast and go have fun? It's going to be the same mindset going into Washington State. Keep it simple for us. Try to make it confusing and complex for the offensive picture. But at the end of the day, you just got to go win your one-on-ones.
Ryland, so just for the record, are guys like Gabe Peterson and Avante Dickerson, are those guys out for the season, or is there a chance that you might get them back at some point?
Avante is back. Gabe Peterson is still timeline is we don't know yet. Probably out for the season. And then John Ross May is having surgery on his bicep, so he'll be out for the season as well as Logan Peely had surgery on his hand.
want to ask one more question with Jack Castero. You mentioned him. He had that big game against UNLV. He's caught one pass since. I know he was filling in for Kyrie's White in that UNLV game. Is it kind of a depth chart thing where we haven't seen him as much at that slot receiver position?
But I mean, he's been out there. It's just haven't been able to work out in his favor to get him touches. He is a player that we like on certain matchups, especially man, with how he runs his routes in the slot and how he can get open. So he's one of those guys I was kind of talking about that, we need to consistently get the ball to. We know Kyrie is going to be one of our favorite targets. Otto is going to be one of our favorite targets. If we can get Jack going as well and kind of make that thing more of a three-headed monster for the wide receiver spot, then I think our offense is going to be very hard to stop because there's not anyone to key on anymore, right, with Royals gone. So it's got to be able to facilitate it evenly amongst those guys, but also you got to win their one-on-ones and make sure Spencer trusts them.
Josh, this is Jason Walker with Cash Relay Daily. I want to ask about kind of an increased role for a lot of the receivers in offense. Jalen Royals going out. You had the career high 4 catches. Just how is it, trying to fill in for a star like Jalen and keep the offense going?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to replace a guy like Jalen. He's obviously a incredible talent. I mean, he's an absolute stud. We miss him a lot, but kind of what you said, it takes the whole unit. Spencer does a great job spreading the ball around. We all just go out there and do what we've practiced. The coaching really helps that we know, we know the whole play scheme, we know the whole play design. So we're on top of everything and just being well prepared, I'd say is the best way.
Hey, Josh, Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan. I don't want to let you sit there for too long without a question. But besides talking about, filling in offensively and Jalen Royals, but more specifically for Brock Lane, I mean, you've split opportunities with him before, and you've had to kind of step into a larger role when he's had injuries in the past. Is how you're feeling about the tight end room. And Will Money's also been getting involved a little bit more too, but just how you guys are stepping into these increased opportunities now.
Yeah, I mean, it really sucks for Brock to go out. We got here at the same time. He's like my best friend up here, and it seems like we take turns being hurt. Last year it was me. This year it's him again. So that's just been really unfortunate. It's been great being able to play together. That's been probably like one of the best things about this year. But like you said, Will Money has really stepped up. He's a stud. He just does everything he's told. He's great blocking. He's great running the routes. So I think, it really alleviates the pressure on myself to know that we have another, really reliable guy that can go out there and get the job done. And that, between the two of us, we can make sure the game plan that we can take it affect what we do and make sure we can dominate still.
Josh, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. Yeah, last year was a pretty unlucky year for you injury-wise. So how good are you feeling health-wise going into these last 4 games, and how confident are you that your body's feeling well enough to finish your college career out strong?
I mean, 100%. Yeah, it's last year. Yeah, I was unfortunate with a couple of injuries, but I think we've gotten some really lucky timing with our buys that it's really broken up the year, our schedule very well. We're excited, for this last month to go out there and just play the best that we can. I'm feeling good, feeling 100%. I know, everybody I've talked to, it's nice to have kind of a late buy to really kind of get out the jitters to just focus on finishing out the year well. So, yeah.
Josh, another question for me. This will be the 5th team that you guys have faced that is ranked or at some point was ranked over the course of the season. That's a crazy stretch for Utah State to go through so many ranked and well-rounded teams that you'd have to face in a season. Comment on just the type of schedule you guys have had to run through so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been tough in that regard. We've played a lot of really, really good teams. But at the end of the day, it's just you're playing who you're playing against, and it's just especially for my mentality, I don't think there's many guys that or there's nobody I look at and I look at the jersey and I'm afraid to play him. I've been able to play against now, Alabama, USC, um, some pretty big games in like 21 as well. So um, we faced some really really good teams, and we haven't come out on the good end of those. But I think we're ready for these last 4 games to really buckle down and play through them.
DJ, this is Jason Walker with Cash Relay Daily. That Wyoming game was probably the best overall performance on defense for you guys this season. What kind of changed in that game for you guys to have more success, and what do you guys got to do to have that again this week against Washington State?
Like I said, talent's never the issue. It's just I feel like we just locked in, and we just locked in and honed in on the details. And we play more discipline than we have all year. And I think that's the only change, And like I said, that win was a huge morale booster also. So and we had something to prove also. It was I found out not too long ago it was actually a rivalry game between us and Wyoming. So maybe that also helped a bit too. But if we just carry this over into Washington State, we're gonna like the result we're gonna want the result that we wish for, and that's a W. So as long as we keep focusing in and honing in on the details, we're just gonna be fine.
I want to ask a follow-up kind of on the turnover number that Doug mentioned. Individually turnovers can kind of seem random, but then you have a lot of players who are very capable of getting turnovers. You proved to be one of them. What goes into forcing those turnovers that you've been successful at?
Just doing your job, and that's something that I always try to, on a TV timeout or even before the game, it's just do my job, do my job, and I just know, eventually the ball is gonna find me. When I force a fumble, I'm trying to be as violent as possible. When I intercept the ball, I see the ball and it's just see ball, get ball really. But as long as I do my job, I just, eventually the ball is gonna find me.
Hey DJ, this is Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan. Ask this of Josh, and I'll ask the same to you. This is another game where you're facing a ranked opponent. This will be the 5th team that is ranked or at some point was ranked over the course of the season. Just comment on the tough schedule you guys have had to go through, but still trying to compete and find W's in the mix of that.
Yeah, no, we definitely haven't caught a break all season, which is that's just how it is. But I like the competition. I'm glad that we get to play such high ranking opponents, and I don't know, maybe it'll make us focus more. I don't know, but it's a challenge for us, and it's a challenge that we're ready for, and it's a challenge that we're preparing for. Very very hard. Like, we had a great practice yesterday, and I feel like we've been carrying over the Wyoming win a little bit, and we like that feeling, and we haven't felt that feeling since Robert Morris. So we want to feel that again, and you could feel that in practice. You felt that yesterday, so we're gonna be ready for it, 100%.
DJ, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. This Washington State offense is one of the better offenses you probably will face this season. Has a really dynamic quarterback. What are some of the biggest things that you need to accomplish to slow them down a little bit?
Yeah. This quarterback, he's really good, and he's a dual threat. He could do it. He could do it with his arm. He could do it with his legs, and we have to shut down. Number one and number two. They're really good receivers, and they got a lot of talent. So I feel like if we could do that, we have a really good chance of winning. But kudos to them because they got some guys that could go.
DJ, this is Jason Walker again. You guys have faced a lot of mobile quarterbacks this season. What have you learned from facing some of those quarterbacks and how to try and slow them down or stop them?
We got to keep them contained. That's the biggest thing. Their legs have hurt us more than they've more than the ball in the air. So I feel like if we could contain him and not let him hurt us with his legs, that's the biggest thing. I feel like I'm confident in our DBs. If the ball is in the air, we can make a play on the ball. But somebody like an athletic quarterback, if we don't keep him boxing, we don't keep him contained, then we have more issues than we could deal with.
Just kind of a follow up on that. How difficult is it to try and generate a pass rush on the quarterback while also keeping it contained, not overplay it and let him sneak through the line and get a big rushing game?
Yeah, that's a tricky. It's like it's like yin and yang. We have to come off the ball quick, but at the same time, keep integrity to the defense and keep them inside. I don't know. It's it's tough, but like again, what I come down to, like what I always say, is just be able to do our jobs, and if we do that, and we take coaching and we just stay in our gaps, I feel like we could keep them contained. That's the biggest thing, and it's not necessarily just a big sack. It could come down to like a QB hurry, or if we do get him out the pocket, force him into a bad throw. So it's not necessarily just sack him and put him down, and it's just more to it. So if we could do that, I feel like we'll be fine.